So for the operating system installation, at this time we are installing Linux Mint 19.01. So what you'll need is a bootable Linux Mint USB. And this can go into any of the USB ports on the computer, front or back, but I prefer back. So now what we want to do is we want to turn on the computer and we want to access the boot menu. And to get to the boot menu in a Dell, you need to hit the F12 key on the keyboard. So I'm going to turn this on and I'm immediately going to start pressing the F12 key. As you can hear, the computer did beep. Not all will, but these do. So now we are in the boot device menu, and what we want to select is the USB device. So we're going to use the arrow keys to go down to that and press enter on the keyboard. We're going to see this screen here saying automatic boot and then a countdown timer. We can let that timer go out and it will automatically start booting into a live version of Linux Mint, which will then allow us to install the operating system. So once we're in the live version of Linux Mint, we're going to see on the desktop that there is a disk icon with the title Install Linux Mint. So we want to double click on that, which will bring up the wizard for installing Linux Mint. First thing it's going to ask you is what language you want to use. We're going to be using English and we're going to hit continue. It's then going to ask us our keyboard layout. We want English US and English US for both boxes here. We're going to hit continue again. Now it's going to ask to install third-party software. We don't need to do this, so we're going to leave that box unchecked and we're going to click continue. Now we get the option of how we want to install Linux Mint. The only option for us here when we have a securely erased hard drive is to erase disk and install Linux Mint. This is the option we want to use. It's the very top option, and it usually is the default when you are getting to this screen here. One thing we want to check though is this use LVM with the new Linux Mint installation. LVM is the logical volume management, and it allows some easier partitioning of the hard drive and as well as snapshot backups once we have the operating system installed. So we're going to check that box there, and then we're going to click Install Now. We're then going to get a pop-up that's going to ask us to confirm these settings right here. So it's automatically going to create a root directory and a swap partition as well. And we can click continue. Now it's going to ask us for a time zone. So being that we are in Phoenix, you can actually click on the map to select a location, or you can type it in down here in the box. I'm just going to kind of click over by Phoenix, and it puts Phoenix in the box for me there, and I'm just going to click continue. Now we need to enter a name and a password. So for your name, I'm going to type AZStrut, and you see the computer's name and the username automatically fill based on what you type for your name. So we can leave the computer name and the username alone, and then we're going to go down to password. Now for password, we're going to set the password as password, all lowercase. Whoops. So password, all lowercase. And we'll leave these options down here alone. So the default option is require my password to log in. So we're going to leave that the way it is. And we do not need to encrypt the home folder, so we can leave that alone. And then we're going to click continue. Now we're going to wait about 10 minutes as it is installing the operating system. And then after that, we are going to reboot it. So once the installation is complete, we get this pop-up asking us to either continue testing or restart now. But what we want to do is restart now. So we're going to click on the Restart Now button, and it's going to start shutting down here. It is going to tell us, however, please remove the installation medium, then press enter. So we want to remove that bootable USB out of the computer, and then we can press enter on the keyboard, and that will go ahead and reboot it. So after we restart the computer, we're going to want to use our password to log in, and our password, as we set up before, is password. And then after you enter that and press enter, you are going to see a blank screen here for a few seconds, but then the Linux desktop will appear. Now you will see this welcome screen, and there is an option in the bottom right, a checkbox that says show this dialog at startup, but we want to leave that checked, so whoever gets this computer in the end will have a little introduction into the operating system here. But we can close the window for now. So now we're going to open a terminal, and we're going to type sudo space lshw. What this command does, sudo just elevates our privileges, and then lshw stands for list hardware. So we're going to make sure that the computer is recognizing the correct hardware. After you press enter, it is going to ask for your password again, so just go ahead and enter password there, and then it's going to scan all the components in the computer. It's going to give us a lot of information, but we're really looking for two things here. Towards the top of this, there's a section called memory, and we want to make sure the size is 4 gigabytes, or however much is put into this computer, but we want to make sure it is recognizing all of the memory in the computer. I know this computer in particular has one 4 gigabyte stick, so this size of 4 gigabytes checks out. And the next thing we're going to be checking is the hard drive, and we're going to scroll down a bit here to the section SCSI0. Underneath disk, we see the size is 80 gigabytes, which I know from the label of the hard drive in this computer, that is correct. So I am confident here that this computer is recognizing the vital hardware, and everything is good to go. So after that, we can then go ahead and shut down this computer. And we are now at the end of the refurbishment for this computer here.